My man Federico, we're recording. How are you, dude?
Man, it's just crazy, you know. What can I say?
Actually,
Uh,
you and I, we were having a conversation before starting this, and we started on a positive note, sort of,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Should we break it down why it's a positive note?
Yeah, it's not so easy to put it as positive, you know, because the situation, it is what it is. For me personally, it's not so difficult because I'm used to stay at home. I'm one of those potato calves somehow, you know. So I'm not that affected by the quarantine itself. I can imagine like extroverted guys that are used to talk to people. They're freaking out. I mean, I have a friend working in a huge bank in Milan. He's freaking out because he's so used to see people and meet people and speak to people that it's just freaking out, man. Positive note, yeah. If you want to go back to art base, of course. I mean, I'm having sort of a positive vibe from certain clients, you know, because I try to stay as close as possible to my clients, but rather than as a professional, as a human being right now.
Yes.
I'm trying to get in touch with people, ask how they're doing, what's their opinion on this huge mess we're in. I mean, I'm just trying to connect, you know, because it's something that I feel I have to in this moment.
Yes.
Not thinking so much about working flow, to be honest. I mean, if it comes, it comes. It's all right, whatever. And I won't deny it's been easy. Sorry, easy. Yeah, no, it's not been easy. Especially, no way. Especially last 2 weeks have been quite rough for me personally as a human being. I try to, you know, roll up my sleeves, say, okay, it's time to do something different. It's time to pick up old stuff, you know. I start writing a lot of articles again. I used to run this blog a couple of years ago. I haven't been writing since 2 years, since I started doing production of images.
Which is a shame because it was actually a very successful one, right?
It's a shame. It's something that I kept telling myself, like, yeah, I have to go back to the website. I have to go back to the blog. I have to take a break from production at a certain point. And never got the chance to get out of production because it was like 2 years of growth.
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know how to put it, man, because for me, in my personal situation, this whole mess could benefit my mental health because, you know, I just picked up my calendar and start putting in blocks. Okay, I have to do this. I have to write this. I have to work on this small carousel for Instagram, you know. So I try to reorganize my time in a way that I could do those things that I didn't do during the production of images times, you know. I'm almost a one-man show. We have two right now. There's a person that helps me from time to time. This year was the year of growth. Hypothetically, it's not going to be anymore, but wherever, I don't think it's going to be the year of growth. But, you know, it's all a matter of reorganizing your mind somehow.
Let me just break down our conversation a little bit so that we have a sort of like a framework with which we can...
because otherwise I just go freestyle and just stop me wherever you can. Seriously.
No, you know, like I have a relatively positive feeling from the industry at the moment because I think that people are in a way a little bit frustrated from what is happening. And so this is not an economical crisis, meaning that there is no money. The money is there. Things could move if there was the chance to make them move. And so I feel like a lot of people are trying to fight to find a way to keep moving and to keep the momentum rolling. And I think that from our conversation before we started the recording, you kind of agree on this, right?
Yeah. People are trying to get out of this, you know, of this still mindset because, you know, quarantine brings us to stillness. People are getting frustrated of this stillness and they're trying to make things move somehow. Could be work, could be commissioned work, could be personal work, but I see more and more people trying to, you know, stir things up. I saw, even you, like with your, you know, car models, I wanted to pick up the challenge if I had the time, you know. it's just doing something for yourself or doing something for someone else, or it's just moving things in a way that work keeps going.
Yeah.
I mean, I had clients calling me for RFPs because they want to move things up. They want to keep going.
Yes.
They're eager to keep going.
Yes.
And if you don't keep going, somehow things are going to get even worse, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that,
there's a thing to this, because in times like this, you don't really know what's going to benefit your activity.
Yes.
I'm a planner. I'm the kind of guy that sits down at the desk and starts planning from now for a few months later, I'm that kind of guy. So I'm a bit of a loss here, because I don't know what's going to affect my activity in the future. So I don't know what to pick up and what's going to be the most effective to myself and my activity. But yeah, I'm still trying to force myself to do this stuff that I did used to do, and I'm not doing anymore.
Okay, so let me give you just a little tip, all right? Because I think that these times, they could be very overwhelming. I think that as of now, the priority should be living in survival mode for as long as it's needed, because a lot of our expectations are the things that then end up stressing us out, right? Because as you said, this is the year of growth.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, it's the expectation that you put on yourself,
And so
you have expectations right now.
I think that accepting for now that our goal as humans, as everybody together, we just need to get out of this shitty tunnel, so to say, right? This would have to be the first priority. I think that all the other things are going to follow slowly, because people, I can feel it. There is an energy in the air, even if it's only like by talking, to the person when I go and walk the dog at social distance, or to some friends on the internet. There is this will for people to go back to living normal lives.
For sure. I mean, it's what happens after every crisis. Like post-war was a huge times for culture, for economics. Just think of the 20s and the 50s as well. Like 20s were the roaring years.
Yeah.
Like it was fantastic time for culture and for economy. Yeah, there was the recession at the end of the 20s, but yeah, whatever. Let's think about the second post-war, the aftermath of the Second World War, like was a huge growth for everybody. So, it's going to be rough. Let's not fake it. It's going to be rough for many people, but there's going to be like a new rise after a rough period.
The only thing that worries me is that, because we're expecting a recession, an economical recession anyway, the only thing that really worries me is that if these two things were to come together, people would not have enough time to recover from one to the other. And so the economical hole that it's going to form, because people were not able to work, and because then there is a recession and people will not have money at all, is that then this period will be really too long for even like the good companies. And we're not talking about only designers, we're talking about also big companies, Coca-Cola, Nike, Armani, whatever. Because then what we will be facing is a depression. And this has huge, long repercussions on the life of a country.
That's what I think as well. I mean, the economics is something that I don't know, and I won't try to make predictions, because even experts in the field, they don't know how to take this.
Nobody.
So we cannot do it for sure. But yeah, I'm worried about the implications, about the chain effect of stopping a whole economy, like the planet's economy. So that's the thing that scares me the most, I have to say. But let's wait and see. You're right. We have to go survival mode, and hopefully people have a cash reserve from themselves for emergency times, because cash is what's going to save us in in the short term and the medium term as well.
Yeah.
It's very important to have a cash reserve. Like,
of course. But the thing is that as of now, it's understandable that some people might say, "Yeah, thank you for telling us now," and it's like, actually, I've been saying this.
I've been trying to.
I've been trying to warn people, but it's okay. The thing is that I'm not here to lecture anybody on, on this, and it's not the place of anybody to say, "Hey, I told you so." Even because I see how a lot of people, and I'm talking about politicians, have reacted to this situation with Corona. I'm seeing what is happening in America at the moment. I remain positive because I know that Americans, they can step up their game whenever they want. I hope that they're going to get the understanding of what this virus is actually doing, because I think at the very beginning there was a very bad marketing done for the virus, because people kept calling it like flu.
Very confusing marketing, especially in the US. Yeah,
this is not a flu. It's nothing like a flu. It's
nothing like a flu, and we are experiencing it. I mean, and we aren't those who underestimated the risks. I mean, we're among the first. Italy, of course. I'm in Italy. I live in Bologna. So Italy was one of the so-called first world countries to shut down everything, and everyone was looking at us like, see these guys, what they're doing. I mean, now what? I mean, guys, now what?
At first you were like, people criticized you, and they also kind of made fun of the fact that, the country was in shutdown. But now people are reconsidering.
That people now are shutting down. I mean, I think there's a few exceptions in Europe. I think Netherlands are not shutting down 100%. Sweden is not shutting down.
Yeah.
But Germany is, France is, a lot of countries, even in Northern Europe, are shutting down.
Yes.
And the politicians, as you say, they're like, these kind of situations bring the worst and the best of humanity. And when you see that in politicians, you start realizing stuff.
Yeah.
You know Matteo Salvini, right?
Yeah.
You know about Matteo Salvini.
I have no idea. I'm not following.
Matteo Salvini is a right-wing politician in Italy who's really all about.
Oh yeah. I know the guy.
Let's block immigrations, etc., etc. He's one of those, sovereignist politicians.
Yeah.
Like last night, he went on public television in a trash TV broadcast show and started praying live in television, like praying. It's like the worst of humanity.
Jesus Christ.
It's bringing the worst of us, and hopefully also the best, because we are joining each other even from a distance, of course, but we are trying to help each other whenever we can. We're donating money to hospitals, to charities, to all those people helping in this situation. So I see the best, the two extremes, the best and the worst of humanity right now. And the more this epidemic goes on, the more we'll see a polarization between the two opposites, I think.
Let me ask you one more question. What it's like now to live in Italy? Can you try and picture us what it's like to be living in Italy right now during the shutdown? Because
I think I can draw a clear picture for you. Anyway, I'm not one of those guys who had a job that brought me a lot outside my house, but I definitely had to clear and reinvent a lot of my routines, I used to see friends in the evening to play Dungeons and Dragons like 2 times per week. And of course, we cannot meet. We cannot meet anymore. We reinvented ourselves, and now we're playing remotely through Discord, for example. No? So we did something new. But yeah, anyway, it's a problem. It's not a problem of food, like survival, because there's food for everybody right now. But if I were to go out to the supermarket, I would have to face long queues to get my groceries. So we're trying to shop whatever we can online. But even shopping online is very difficult. There's like 2 to 3 times waiting list, 3 weeks waiting list for any groceries delivered at your house. So you also have to consider this. And if you go to the supermarket, of course, you have to consider there's going to be other people, and there's queues. You have to keep 1 meter from each other. There's like tiered entrance to the supermarket, controlled entrance. So It's kind of strange. Not mentioning, of course, the fact that we cannot leave our houses. I mean,
What is the
there's no
rule at
way.
the moment? That you cannot go out of your house?
The rule is that you can go out if you have you have a valid reason. I mean, there's a self-certification form that you can fill in which you have to state certain things. You have to state, for example, that you're not in quarantine, you're not affected by the virus. These forms are changing constantly, so I'm not really into it because I told you I'm trying to have delivered most of the stuff at my house. So, but yeah, it's you can go out just for like very, very urgent reasons. So if you're one of those people that are allowed to work, because you have to know that most of the activities, most of the business are shut down unless you are part of a certain, field. We had I think it was one week ago or a little bit more, I don't remember, but the government put out a list of the activities divided by field that could go on. I mean, everybody can go on remotely, but if you were to go into an office, you have to fall into one of those categories.
I
So
understand.
it's very strict at the moment. And police is fining all those outside their houses without a good reason, We had people jogging, for example, doing open air activities, sports. And we also had to call in those. Now it's not allowed anymore. There's fines also for those people. So we're really, adding pieces to the puzzle day by day. I think, honestly, I don't think we can do any more than that. I mean, it's an almost complete shutdown.
Now, in order for people to understand why these measures have been taken, in Italy, every year, they die between 10 and 12,000 people. That's the average of the people that die every year in Italy. At the moment, 11,000 people have died so far this year of Corona. That means that by the end of the year, if these numbers were to continue going the way they are, we're going to get maybe 30,000 people that will die altogether.
And it's strange. Somehow you have to, clear your mind out of this, because if you start thinking about the numbers, like 11,000 is a medium-sized town. I mean, it's like an entire medium-sized town disappears from the map of Italy.
Yes.
So it's scary if you think about it. It's sad to say, but you get used to the reports daily. We have a daily report which states number of infected people, number of recovered people, number of dead. So it's you get these numbers daily. Right now, Italy is stabilizing. So the number of infected is slowly flattening, slowly decreasing due to the measures in place. So we're starting to have the plateau right now. So we have to keep going. I mean, in these situations, we have to keep going with the quarantine, with the lockdown.
Yeah.
There's no way we can start again in 2 weeks. It has to be really, really, a soft and tiered going back to work.
Yeah.
It's not like everybody can just get out in 2 weeks. That's not possible.
But it's a good thing, so it's stabilizing, and it's sort of like you can tell that it's not on the rise anymore, right? That it's...
Yeah, it's not... There's going to be fluctuations in these days, but it's not going to be the exponential... It's not anymore the exponential rise like it's in the US right now.
Yeah.
So it works.
Okay.
It's definitely working. And I mean, I'm glad it is. I'm glad we're not even doing much effort. I mean, it's just saying it on, come on.
Yeah.
Can be taxing for people, can be like straining for certain kinds of people, but we can do it. I mean, even if it's until the half of May, I guess it's going to be that eventually, like June, we're starting to see some normality from June, I guess. I don't know. Just an hypothesis, but nothing more. But yeah, it's working. So it's necessary to put in place these measures. It's really necessary. And the point is not even like, it's not like you get out and you get sick. That's the strangest things, because you're used to seeing TV shows, people like going out, there's the sickness, there's the zombies and this kind of TV shows. No, it's not like that. It's something sneakier, because it's not like you get out and you get coronavirus. You could be potentially like a non-symptomatic patient, non-symptomatic person.
Yeah.
And if you go around, you keep spreading the virus. So that's the most dangerous thing. That's why we're staying home. We're not staying home not to get coronavirus. We're staying home not to have others get coronavirus, basically. Especially younger people. They're basically healthy. There's exceptions, of course. But younger people, they can manage, they can process this virus better than elderly people.
Do we know more or less what is the group that it's mostly in danger, at least in Italy? Do we have numbers that say who it is the most affected of these guys?
I mean, I don't have charts of them, but it's under the eyes of everybody. Elderly people are the most at risk, of course. Italy has an elderly population. It's an elder country. The average age of casualties for the epidemics is around 79 years.
Okay, so relatively old people.
Relatively old people, or people with comorbidities, that is to say other illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are at risk, of course. People that have other important, like they're doing chemotherapy or they have heart diseases, those people are at risk at the moment.
I see, okay. Well,
and also smokers, I have to say. Smoking increases the chance of having complications from the coronavirus.
I'm asking this not because I want for younger people to say, fuck it, it's like...
because that's not the point.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's not like you're young and then you can say, I'm going to get coronavirus, who cares? I mean, it's not you, it's other people.
Yeah.
You have to stay home because not to spread the virus to other people. That's the point.
Yeah.
I mean, where I see a lot of people that finally understood this. It took a while. It took a lot of, reiterating the concept, the idea through television, through broadcast. We have every 4 minutes, 5 minutes in the TV, we have broadcasts telling us how to behave in this situation. Yeah, maybe not 5 minutes, but like even during movies, for example, at each commercial break, you get like 2 or 3 times the public service announcement telling you how to behave in this situation. So people are understanding what's going on.
Dude, it's like being in a super weird movie. Like, I don't know, it's like Netflix and HBO and Prime and all these came up with the worst twisted story.
Sometimes it doesn't have to. It doesn't really has to do anything with the virus. Do you know the Handmaid's Tale?
I've heard, and some people have suggested to me to watch it.
It doesn't have anything with the virus. It's basically a story about a dystopic USA who becomes I don't remember Gilead becomes Gilead. US becomes Gilead, which is a patriarchy country, a religious patriarchy. And there's all these scenes with the flashbacks on how slowly things got worse. So sometimes I felt like I was in those flashbacks and seeing things going worse. Of course, the topic's not the same, but that's the idea. I was inside seeing things going worse and worse in Italy. I was like, we're going that direction. What's going to happen?
Wow.
So you get in and you don't even realize that.
Yeah.
But that was the feeling. It's,
You know what it reminds me? Have you ever watched The Matrix? I hope you did.
Yeah.
You know when in one of the initial scenes, Neo is approached by Trinity, and Trinity says something like, "Do you ever feel like you're in a..." No. It wasn't Trinity. It was the guy that brings Neo he brings Neo the disc.
Morpheus, yeah.
No, it wasn't Morpheus. It was in the very beginning when the guy knocks on the door of Neo and he says, "Do you ever have the feeling to be in a dream?" And the guy says, "Yeah, all the time." And then the girl turns around and she has the white rabbit tattoo on her shoulder, and on the computer of Neo it says, "Follow the white rabbit." And to a certain extent, to me, it really feels like being in one of those movie scenes, that I'm like seeing what is happening out there. Like, Tel Aviv is a city with a lot of stuff happening all the time, and people live most of their lives outside. It's always warm most of the year. Today there are 28 degrees, 28 Celsius, which is like, I don't know, 90 Fahrenheit. And usually the city is polluted with people doing activities outside. You go out here, you look over the sea, and there is literally a car of the police and nobody outside. It's, I don't know, never ever would have thought in my life to be living.
Yeah, we have a good lookout here on the supermarket, the nearby supermarket queues. So it's kind of a similar feeling. We live in the outskirts, in the suburbs of the town, so situation is, it looks like a Sunday. Every day is Sunday. That's the general feeling, of course. But yeah, it's what you say. I mean, sometimes you get the impression you're living in a weird movie. It might sound weird to say that, but from the average guy, that's the feeling.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're safe. I mean, our families are safe. Our job is here inside our houses. We're privileged, you know.
You're actually in one of the regions that got affected the most.
But not especially this area. This area is very, very under control. The real trouble, we have it in the northern western part of the region, Parma, Piacenza, all those regions that are closer to Lombardy, you know.
Okay.
So situation here is pretty okay, I have to say. Well, of course, it's a big city, so big cities are definitely more affected than small cities. And that's a fact. Now we are seeing what's going on with the south, you know. South for now is still okay-ish. People were expecting a rise of cases in the south. We'll see. Anyway, we spoke a lot about this coronavirus, the situation here anyway. We still so far off 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗶.
Yeah, I know. The thing is that, you know, the reason why I'm having these conversations with people, which I've called isolation conversations, is more to bring a sense of reality to people, because me, myself, as a content creator, I find that a lot of people, to keep up their content creation game, they force a certain level of positivity which does not reflect the situation as it is. And I think that people now have the moral obligation to be honest about everything that is happening.
I'm absolutely agree 100%.
Because at a certain point, one of the things that I think fools people into believing that, you know, life goes on without any problem is this illusion that, you know, we're living a parallel life where everything it's happy and it's pretty and it's I don't know. Anyway,
it's sort of a reality check, you know. There's a couple of things about that. Like I've been thinking about this hashtag going on in Italy, like everything's going to be alright, andrà tutto bene. You know, I mean, yeah, I understand the need for such a hashtag, such a motto, but that's not true. I mean, it's going to be rough. I mean, we have to fight for things going on right now. So telling people everything's going to be alright, it gives them a false sense of certainty, of safety, because
and hope also.
Hope. I mean, we have to be hopeful. We don't need false expectations and false hopes right now.
That's exactly
because it is going to be rough.
Yes.
It's going to be rough, 100%. Then we have to roll up our sleeves and fight for that.
Yes, I totally
make things
agree.
go right. That's what we have to do. We cannot hope that, you know, everything's going to be right after this, because things are going to change. And many people also have to be prepared to say goodbye to things they used to do, maybe also to their business plans or their activities. I mean, myself, I've been thinking lately, like, yeah, okay, maybe it could be time to say goodbye to 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗶. I don't know. Maybe I could try to find something else to do. I mean, it's something that I'm thinking. I'm thinking lately.
Look, let me say something. I think that the attitude and the ability to say, you know what, if it has to happen, it has to happen, right? Excuse me. Now, we are with the D2 conference. We're talking to the city of Vienna. We're trying to keep an eye on what the authorities are saying, because people, of course, rely on us to do the D2. The D2, it's also money that we make, that we earn. Sorry, I choked on my own saliva.
Okay.
We have the obligation to do what's best in the interest of the people that come to our conference. Obviously, people, they want to enjoy themselves and they want to see a conference. But if the situation doesn't allow for this to happen, the best thing for us to do is to have to say, you know what, maybe we'll have to cancel. We still don't know. We hope still that things are going to happen. But being able to say, if it has to happen, it has to happen, and not make it a personal case, it's probably the thing that it's going to lift the biggest weight off your shoulders. Because as of now, people live with the expectation of what should be. I'm a great designer, I'm a great artist, why is this corona thing doing this to me? Tough shit, man. You know, there are people that are losing a lot of money. I've had conversations with other artists. They've lost 6 figures overnight because, you know, some clients had to drop projects. They had to, you know, they had to do what they had to do. And I think that, you know, the fact that you think that maybe you have to say goodbye to archivists, it's not, first of all, it's not something that, you know, should make you think less of yourself or that should make you question what you have done up to now. You're still an entrepreneur. This was part of your life. If it doesn't have to work for now, then be it. But God knows, maybe you're gonna make a couple of good decisions in the future which are going to take you back to it. Nobody says that this is not the possibility. The only thing is that, again, if we sort of like cement ourselves into the shoes of I am the archivist artist and that's the only thing that I can do, man, you're set to fail, because this crisis has shown more than ever that there is no security on this planet whatsoever. Like, you know, there is nothing, it's a given, nothing is for granted.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm not saying that I will quit ArtPiece after this. I mean, I hope I keep doing ArtPiece, but I'm not closing myself the possibilities to do something else. That's the point. And it's very hard, because it's like saying goodbye to a loved one. Like this loved one is going to die, and then you have to say goodbye. So it's very hard. It's like a grief. You have to process your grief.
It reminds me of Boris Johnson.
Oh, no. But it's
you see,
it's the same thing.
The good thing is that we can still laugh, and that's because Italians have it inside.
That's kind of karmic justice. I don't know. I hope he's going to be all right. I sincerely hope he's going to be all right, but it's still kind of karmic justice, you know. Just get this bad flu, but then you see what's going on. No, but yeah, it's true. I absolutely agree 100%, because you have to be lean. You have to be open to change. And these kind of events, they make you think. They think you and ourselves as a human beings, as humanity, how flexible we are as a species, and that's what makes us stronger. So we should be as flexible as the human species.
Yes.
I mean, we have to think more widely, more openly, outside of the box, outside what we can do.
Yes.
So yeah, it's what's going to happen is going to happen, basically. It's tough. It's definitely tough. It's been a tough time trying to process this for me. I'm more at comfort with the idea that ArtPiece could go to a stop, could come to a stop in this time. It's okay. I mean, if I really want to do ArtPiece, I'll find a way to do it, but the proper way, not slashing down prices, like the proper way, like a proper business.
Yeah.
But even if I have to put it on hold for a few months, 1 year, 2 years, I don't know, I'll see if it's for me. And if it's not for me, I'll just try something else.
Yeah. And of course, like I think honestly, we need to be able to reframe a little bit what is happening, because if we do have the possibility of reframing this reality and say, you know what, this is a chance for us to experiment, to grow, to like, we are set up for failure anyway. So why don't we try and fail into something else where nobody else is trying to fail? Because that's the beautiful thing, that then these times, they drive for innovation. Like I heard a couple of days ago that there is this new app that came out, which is called House Party or something. Have you heard of it?
I think so, yes.
Maybe it has always existed. I have no idea. But now it's booming.
I think so, yeah. I think so. It's booming now, right? Yeah.
Now it's booming because, like the product always existed maybe, but now they're finding a real implementation for it, right?
Yeah.
And so why don't try doing different things? I mean, one of the reasons why I'm having these isolation conversations, it's because, at least in my mind, even if we end up talking about, like today we're talking extensively about the coronavirus, and I wanted to talk to you about this because, of course, you're from Italy and you live in the middle of it. It's a chance for me to try something else and see if in my social media channel there is a place for an experiment like this one. And I would invite anyone to use their time right now. I'm like, God damn it, I went back to making 3D models. You've seen,
I mean, it's the perfect time to experiment things. You have to do, of course, with a greater plan in mind, with a kind of a strategy, even though you don't know what's going to work in the future. But then if it fits your strategy, if it fits your persona, just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just finished writing a new article for the blog, I was saying, So I'm just going back to my true self, the one that produces content.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm really happy about that, because I didn't have the chance for a long time. So yeah, it's also, I was thinking all these apps that you were mentioning. Like now we have an app for tracking down queues at the supermarket, for example.
Oh, really?
There's people who, we have people who started printing bulbs for, how do you say it in English? The ventilators.
Okay, yeah, it's true, it's true, yeah.
So people are experimenting also for the emergency, but they're innovating somehow.
Yeah, they are.
It's there. For me, what scares me the most, one of the things that scares me the most, is not being lean enough to survive this, like survive as a human being, as an entrepreneur, whatever you call it, to reinvent myself. I mean, I'm really striving to think myself as something else than an artist, visual designer. And I hope not to fail that. I hope to be lean enough, I'm not hoping that I keep doing art viz for the next 20 years. I hope to be lean enough to do something else in the future if I want to. That's what I hope the most.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you are thinking about this, because it kind of shows, like, if you want to be a true entrepreneur, differentiating should be at the base of your strategy, no matter what, no matter if you're doing archivists, if you're doing, I mean, this is one of the things that a lot of artists don't realize, but every single company that is on the market with a product or a service, they differentiate one way or another. You name any company, there are very few exceptions of people or companies that have done only one thing for a very long time, but those are outliers. And as I always say, never use an outlier as a sort of like
example, as a case study.
An example, exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking about Netflix, but Netflix also is doing movies right now, like movies that you can play in theaters, not just streaming anymore.
That's a very good observation, because what Netflix did, Netflix bought vertical on the food chain, because Netflix was just a distribution service. In order for them to become important, they had to start making their own movies, which they alone could distribute. Because you see, like, Netflix and Amazon Prime, say, they can fight themselves on all the movies that Paramount made, but they will never fight themselves on a movie that Prime made, or that Netflix made, because they have the rights to distribute those movies.
And probably they don't even care. Maybe Netflix cares more than Amazon, because Amazon is so diversified. Like there's a lot of services that Amazon gives you. Like there's the Prime, there's the AWS services, there's the eStore. There's
but
just
they're
a lot
all
of things.
doing very well. Like I think that to a certain extent, what they are doing in terms of innovation in creating content, it's actually. The TV industry, it needed that. And even like, I would argue to say also like Hollywood, because, like you're getting productions from a small production house in China or in India, and the effects are just as good as the multi-million houses in Hollywood or in...
Especially right now, I'm thinking about the industries right now that are working a lot. Like, of course, tourism is completely still, like flights and transportation. Like, I was reading that flights, like airline companies have lost 88% of traffic, of air traffic since this started. 88%. But on the other hand, industries like entertainment, I think you said that in your last video.
Yeah,
entertainment, media, they're all like running like crazy. Like my partner, she's a translator for the video game industry, and she's working like crazy these days because all the developers are like trying to put out offers for coronavirus for people inside, bonuses, packages. So she's translating all this new content. Yeah. So this industry is really running, it's capitalizing on the moment somehow. So in every crisis, there's going to be industries that suffer more than other ones.
Federico, can you believe it? We've been talking for 51 minutes already.
What? Time is it? The hell?
I think that Corona, that's one other thing that, like, and I hate this. The fact that I'm not allowed to go, usually the way I work, I structure my day that when I do something like publishing a video, and so I'm happy, I go out and celebrate with a coffee. And so I walk and I see some people. Then, in the morning I go for my walk. And so, I walk usually for 10 kilometers. So I do an hour and a half walking very early in the morning. All these activities that are now missing, they make my day go by like this. Because,
But you see, there's another positive effect of this tragedy. Like people are connecting. People are talking more to each other. I mean, I was at the phone today with a client, talking shit for 45 minutes before going to business.
Oh, really?
Like really talking shit for 45 minutes on the phone. Like I was going, what are you doing in your house, who you live with, blah, 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 and this kind of things. So changes, I mean, I'm enjoying the little things because to survive this mentally, to be mentally stable, you have to enjoy these little things. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. 100% with you. Dude, listen, don't, I apologize. I need to go on another call. I was stupid to book this. Yes. But anyway, I appreciate you taking the time for talking to me. It's always a pleasure when we hang out. I'm going to stop the recording. Don't go anywhere so that I can say goodbye one more time. All right?
All right.